Hi everyone, Trishna here. So I was guided to do a form of energy healing, but it's also a little bit of a outlook of how the next quarter is going to go for 2020. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. So I know this year has already been really difficult for everyone. Like literally everybody on this planet has had a challenge of some form, of some level. And so I'm a little sad to say this, but this quarter, Q3 of 2020, isn't really going to be that much different. We are still going to be beaten down, but most of this is going to be internal. And that's okay because essentially what's going to happen this quarter, especially in the first half, is we are going to have to come to terms with a lot of our impurities on an individual level. Like we've already started to do that on a massive level of like where we really need to work on, what have we been neglecting, what have we been suppressing that needs to come to light and that we need to elevate our perspective and how we act. So a lot of that has been on that conscious external level, and now that journey is coming within. And so this quarter is going to be all about finding our internal impurities, noticing the aspects of ourselves that we may not like, we may not be proud of, we may be ashamed of or embarrassed by, and allowing those to either burn because we realize that does not need to exist anymore, that can just go, or being able to utilize that and find a way to transmute it into something that's positive, find a way to release and separate those impurities and pull out what's really useful and allow that to take us all to the next level, both individually and also as a society. So I think the best way to look at this as like a new year. When we come upon the end of a year and we're about to enter into a new one, we tend to reflect on the failures of our past. Where did we not measure up? What goals did we have that we didn't really fulfill? So there's a little bit of that, analyzing our impurities, analyzing the things, the ways we didn't measure up, analyzing kind of the negative aspects of how our year went. It's just kind of a natural tendency that we tend to have when we're leaving an old year and being like, the next year will be better. So then we look at the new year and we think, ooh, okay, you know what? This next year is going to be better. Here are my goals. Here's what I want to accomplish. And we come to the new year with this new sense of excitement and energy and willpower and passion. And we have this energy of we're going to actually do something with our lives and with ourselves this year. When we think about the new year, we start to think about how can we do things better? How can we be more successful? How can we improve ourselves? And that's the kind of mentality I think you should apply to how this quarter is going to go and also how this year has been. We're not starting a new year right now, but we are in the midst of starting a new society. So use this time to reflect on how have we not really measured up as a society and how have you had your play in that? What are some of your thoughts and your beliefs that have been in alignment with the suppression and the negativity that's been going on? And that is your look at the past year of how did you not measure up. But then after that, once you come out of that darkness and you've done a lot of reflecting, start focusing on the new society, the new year, where you start asking yourself, how am I going to do better? How am I going to start to improve things in society? How am I going to start to improve things within myself? How am I going to elevate society as well as myself? So I think most of the work is going to be internal this quarter. I do feel like there may be some fighting on the Eastern Hemisphere that comes to the surface. A lot of what's been going on in the Western Hemisphere of late, I think that's going to start to crop up over there. And I think a lot of it will get snuffed down, but there are going to be some fights. And I think the thing that we need to take away from that is remember that as within, so without, as without, so within. So these big fights that are happening on a global scale are very much mirroring the fights that we were having within ourselves. They are related and they are essentially one and the same. And I think that as you go through this quarter and as you look at yourself and analyze yourself, I think it's really important that you do so without judgment because we all have things to work on. And usually if it's just us embodying something, it will mostly affect only our reality, only our external environment, and maybe those of those closest to us. But these issues that are coming to the surface, this darkness, these impurities in our society that we really need to work on, they're not just affecting you and your reality or you and those closest to you, they're affecting everybody. And so that tells you that we all have a piece in this. We are all collectively creating, we have all been collectively creating the dissonance that we've had, the negativity that we've had. And so we all have a piece of this. So as you're working on yourself, don't judge yourself too harshly. that's not going to be effective. That's not the way to heal. That's not the way to move forward. And it's not just about you. You're not the only one that needs to be looking at themselves. Every single one of us needs to be looking at ourselves and trying to improve ourselves so that we can improve our societies. Nobody is excluded from this, from having to do this work. I don't care if you are a monk that spends all of your time working on yourself. There are still impurities. They may not be as big, but they are still there. Like nobody is excluded from this. And as you work through this quarter, I think it's really important that you don't try to fix it just yet. This is not the time to fix things. This is the time to reflect and understand and maybe come up with a plan, but it's not the time to act. And it's not the time to try to figure out a solution. The solution will come, but I don't feel like it's going to happen in this quarter unless it's at the very end. So just focus on reflecting and trying to heal within yourself and let the solution come to you, and it will. But don't go out chasing it because you're just going to get caught up in cycles, and it's just not the time for that at this point in time. So that is my healing message for you for Q3 of 2020. I hope that it's helpful. Let me know how it resonates with you, and I will see you in my next video.